Hey guys, welcome into this segment from our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. In order to get the full podcast, go down to the description, go to Blog Talk Radio / The Onside Kick to download the full thing. Enjoy, everybody. And all right, Mark, we're going to move on into our final discussion of the podcast, and it all comes down to this is our preview, our 2017 NFL free agency preview, getting you all set up for what is going to happen a week from now. Well, yeah, less than a week from now if you're listening to this on YouTube, is this upcoming Tuesday, the free agency period begins. And we're going to talk about a little free agency, about the free agents that are exciting us. And I want to actually start with a position. And that's the most important position in football, baby. I want to look at the quarterbacks. And right now, people could be franchise tagged. We're recording this on Monday, but here are the top 5 free agent quarterbacks when it comes to passing yards. I'm going from how many passing yards they had last season. All right. You ready for it, Mark?
Sure.
Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Case Keenum. Matt Barkley. Brian Hoyer. What are you thinking of this top 5 in the free agency category?
Obviously, Kirk Cousins is the breadwinner of that group.
Probably going to get franchise tagged again.
Yeah, he's going to get paid, whether it's a real deal or franchise tag. I think it's a slap in his face if he gets a second franchise tag. You
think he needs a deal?
I do agree on the standpoint. I forgot who initially said this, but someone who said it's kind of a joke that a team can franchise tag a player twice in a row. You shouldn't be able to do that. And I agree. And I know that the deal goes up and whatever. But anyways, the man needs to get paid. He needs to get his real contract. The other things in there, Matt Barkley is a joke, but he will probably get a team to look at him. He will probably get a backup job after he gets the chance to maybe compete.
Do you think Barkley or Hoyer come back to the Bears?
Hoyer might. I think Hoyer might. I don't think Barkley would, because I think the Bears saw what they needed to see out of him. I think Hoyer could get the chance to compete with Shaw and whatever rookie they probably end up with. Hoyer will probably start somewhere next year. Maybe not week 1, but he'll get his opportunity to start. He will be probably a stopgap for a team.
That's if he doesn't go to the Bears.
Exactly, if he's not in the Bears. And then who was the other guy you mentioned?
Case Keenum and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Don't expect anything out of Case Keenum, really. Not that he was anything that terrible, but he was a stopgap that wasn't very good. He'll probably be a backup somewhere. And Fitzpatrick, I don't know if anyone's...
He's the most interesting one to me.
Oh, really? I was going to say, I don't know if anyone's going to be interested.
I think it's one of those things where he's not going to get signed day one, but it's going to be one of those things to me where I feel like as we get later into the free agency, maybe even after the draft, there's going to be a team not quite happy with their quarterback situation, takes a dive, and I say a dive on Ryan Fitzpatrick after last season.
It depends how much money he's asking for.
I don't think he goes back to the Jets, that's
because
for sure.
The big issue, there's no way he's going back to the Jets. The big issue was he wanted to get paid, and the Jets wouldn't do it. And nobody else was interested.
Yeah, but now he had a fucking shit season. So
does he still... That doesn't matter. Does he still want to get paid? Does he still believe that he deserves that kind of money?
Well, because then he ain't playing anywhere.
He was prepared to not play anywhere. He was prepared to sit out and not play anywhere. I think
he's going to have to take less money because it's one of those things where you had a shit season last year.
There's no denying that he's not... I mean, he's had a shit career for the most part. I mean, I'm over-exaggerating.
One good season.
Yeah, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit.
One good season.
But the thing for him is he was prepared to not go anywhere. And I don't think there's anything that different to this. I think there's a very real chance that nobody is interested and he goes nowhere. I really think that's an actual possibility here because of what he has shown us. He believes in himself and he thinks he should get paid.
Yeah, I look at it and I think that there will be a team where it goes, hey, you know what? We should probably get a quarterback. Going to be one of those teams that don't have a starter in place. And the one team, I hope he doesn't go there, but maybe a team like, I'm going to throw out the Bears because the Bears don't have a starting quarterback. The Bears don't have one. And the thing, I know that you said it in the Romo one of, hey, you know what? That doesn't, and Ryan Fitzpatrick would not fit a rebuild. Actually, maybe he would. because you're not going to win games with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's kind of a stopgap, yeah.
But it's one of those things where maybe a team like the Bears say we're not happy with what we got, and he's cheap. But I really think
they like Shaw and they like Hoyer.
If I have to put my money on it, I don't think he plays for anybody. Because other than the Bears, I can't see a team that would be like, yeah, let's take on Ryan Fitzpatrick.
The other thing, of course, to think about with the Bears, and I'm not going to get into the discussion, I just want to throw it out there in honor of Mike Rankin. I'd rather have Jay Cutler.
Okay.
It's a lateral move. It's the exact same quarterback.
He is technically still there.
Yeah, it's the exact same quarterback.
Technically still there. I want to move over, though, in the wide receiver position. Cool. There's a lot more names to talk about. Obviously, Alshon Jeffrey, unless he gets franchise tagged. We got right now Vincent Jackson, Victor Cruz. I mentioned Garcon and Jackson earlier in the podcast. Anquan Bolden, Kenny Britt. Which one of these free agent wide receivers, could be anybody, are you most excited about entering the free agent pool?
Well, Alshon Jeffrey has to be the most exciting because of the times.
He's going to get tagged, though, right?
Probably. He probably will. But I'm not sure. I mean, that's another one of those situations where he got tagged last year. So are you really going to tag him again? And you know, that contract or that amount of money to do it really skyrockets. And also, he really wasn't there much for the Chicago Bears last year. So definitely, I don't know, there's questions there. But he's definitely going to go somewhere. He's going to be the one who, you know, all 32 teams are calling and trying to see what they can do, because he is a great talent, especially if you are a team that can pair him with somebody else who can demand respect and demand attention too. Alshon Jeffrey is an amazing option.
I just think the thing with Jeffrey that makes me not excited about him is the franchise tag. I think he's going to get tagged, because I looked at the rest of your free agents, and it's one of those things where I don't see somebody that is worth a tag. Like, I look at Marquise Wilson, but then I go, yeah, if you tag him, you're paying him like a number one, and Marquise Wilson is obviously not a number one. There's guys on the defense, Cornelius Washington, C.J. Wilson, Sam Acho. I wouldn't franchise tag any of these guys.
You don't have to use their franchise tag, though.
You don't have to, but let's be honest. If Alshon Jeffrey's out there, you going to let him walk, or are you going to franchise tag him?
Depends what you want to do with that money.
Well, really,
what else would you rather do with the money?
Well, really, the one thing I'm doing if I'm the Bears, I ain't letting him walk. I'm either franchise tagging him and saying you're playing for us, or I'm franchise tagging him and trying to find a trade partner.
I don't know.
I ain't letting him walk for nothing.
I don't know about that. What I would do if I was the Chicago Bears
because you're number one if he walks, and I mean...
Is Cameron Meredith.
Oh, it could be. Like,
it would be.
Right now, I'm looking, Meredith is behind him. Wouldn't it be Kevin White? I mean, he's been injured, but right now...
He's a mystery.
Right now, it's Alshon and White on the R-Labs.
At least Cameron Meredith, we got game film on him.
Or is it Bellamy? Or is it Eddie Royal?
No, it's Cameron Meredith.
I am not excited about this Bears wide receiver core if Alshon walks.
And you shouldn't be. But the thing for it is like I'm saying, for the Chicago Bears of Alshon, it's a question of money. What do you want to do? If I had to not have Alshon Jeffrey, but I can get Eric Berry, I'm taking Eric Berry.
What about...
I'd much rather have Eric Berry.
I'm going to throw this out there, and it all depends on how much money he wants. If you're a Bears fan, would you be okay with them if they could let Alshon walk, and maybe not Eric Berry, but on the offensive side, if they can get Victor Cruz for cheap? I'm not saying the same money that you'd pay Alshon, but if they were able to grab a Victor Cruz for a maybe 2-year contract.
I'd rather have Pierre Garcon.
Or Deshaun Jackson, one of the two.
Yeah. I just think that Victor Cruz is done in the NFL. If I had to pick one of the guys in the list of wide receivers to just be done, it's Victor Cruz. Deshaun Jackson, I'd rather have Pierre Garcon.
Do you think...
which isn't... not... I mean, I don't know necessarily talent-wise I'd rather have him. I just think he's just a good guy to have on the roster.
And the thing that's interesting about Garcon and Jackson is... A, they're both 30, so they're getting over that age. And 2, neither of them are probably going to get the franchise tag because Washington's going to use it on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, let me put it this way. If you're Garcon or Jackson, do you re-sign with the Redskins?
If you can, sure. Why not?
Like, would you want to re-sign with the Redskins, Or is there another team out there that you're like, I want to play wide receiver with this quarterback. I want to play with this team?
Well, I think part of it's going to depend on what those calls are. You know, if you can get the opportunity to play in, I don't know, let's say like Houston, you know, a team that doesn't necessarily absolutely need wide receivers, but certainly could use some help to get that offense going. That's a good place to play, especially if they have the opportunity to not have Brock Osweiler be the quarterback. You know, go back to that Tony Romo conversation. That would be nice, sure. But when you really look at Kirk Cousins, if we're believing that he's the real deal and he had his second season to prove it, so we should believe it by now, then why would you want to go somewhere else? You are a good team. You have a good quarterback. You're in a division that you can win.
Let me throw this out there, and this is a team-based question about the wide receivers. Tennessee, they're a team that we've been talking about in draft talks with wide receiver. I said it earlier, take a wide receiver at 5, or wide receiver at 5, cornerback at 18, because there's a deeper cornerback draft this year. What if the Tennessee Titans, do you see them maybe going out to a Pierre Garçon, to a Deshaun Jackson, one of those guys that we know isn't going to get franchise tagged, saying, here you go, big boy. Here's a contract. Come play for us. We need a wide receiver to help out our young quarterback.
I think you could get something like that, especially if you get one of these guys that you know is a number 2. Because you could still draft a wide receiver. You don't have to, but you could still draft a wide receiver.
They kind of did that last year with Rashard Matthews. So they got him. They went out, and I believe they were the ones that traded Dorial Green-Beckham away.
Yeah.
They traded him to the Eagles, so they don't have him anymore. I mean, they drafted him thinking high hopes. I think that the Titans, it'll be interesting to see if they go out there for a wide receiver, because there are ones where Vincent Jackson might get franchise tagged. He might be one of those guys where it's like Tampa Bay goes, you know what, we're not going to let you walk, even though you're 34. Victor Cruz, he's a big name, and big names usually get gobbled up in free agency. He was a big name
like 3-4 years ago.
Still, though, if you're a team that really needs wide receivers...
When was the last time Victor Cruz was relevant?
Oh, I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread, Mark. I'm just saying if you need a wide receiver and he's there's going to be a team that takes a flyer on him. And I wonder who that team is going to be.
I don't know. I think there's less interest in Victor Cruz this year. You know, he's been nothing for a long time, and injury has been what the issue is.
You know who I could see taking a flyer on him, and I'm sorry for the fans of this team for saying this? The Eagles. Just because it just sounds like an Eagle thing to do. Let's take a wide receiver that played in our division for another team, and then they come to Philly, and then they don't do anything.
That's possible.
Am I wrong? Does that not sound like a Philly thing?
It's possible.
I mean, I know they're under the whole Doug Peterson kind of mentality now, but that just sounds like an Eagle thing. Let's get a wide receiver that I played for the Giants. He can do things for us, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
Speaking of that area and also offense, Martellus Bennett. How do you feel about Martellus Bennett? Where's he going to go?
Is he going to get paid?
He wants to get paid.
Is he going to get paid?
He got his ring, and it's time to get paid. He wants to be like his brother who got that big contract.
I don't think there's a team out there that, because to me, when I look at teams that really need a tight end, I don't think so. I don't think he's getting paid. I don't think he will. I don't think he's getting paid like he thinks he will.
Oh, I would agree with that.
It's one of those things, though. It's like, what team that really needs a tight end? To me, the two that jump out are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could use a tight end because Austin Seraphjenkins has been injury prone. The Broncos could use one, but the Broncos are smart. They're not going to overpay for a Martellus Bennett. I mean, it'll be interesting. Maybe Detroit goes out there and goes for him. I mean, they do have Eric Ebron, but would you take Eric Ebron or Martellus Bennett right now?
I would take Bennett for sure.
I would take Bennett over Ebron too. I mean, I would have thrown the Dolphins out there, but they've got Julius Thomas now.
The flip side of that, though.
The Jaguars?
Jaguars need one. They do now. Martellus Bennett is a lot more proven than Julius Thomas over a career, too.
Do you really think Jacksonville would do that, though? Yeah, they might.
I think they might. They paid for Julius Thomas.
They might. They really, like, that's something where
You just created a hole in your offense.
and you think they're going to fill it with Julius Thomas.
With Martellus Bennett, I think that it's something that makes sense.
That's what I meant.
It's not necessarily the best idea. It's not necessarily the best move. It's just something that you look at it and go, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it comes down to, for me,
because they're not going to draft. They're not going to draft one.
No, but it comes down to Jordan Cameron will be interesting because he's going to hit free agency, I believe. I don't think he gets re-signed with the Dolphins, but I don't really see Jacksonville going, yeah, we want him. Martellus Bennett,
he's the best tight end option, I think.
Well, it all comes down to me, what goes on with Jermaine Gresham with Arizona. What do they do with Gresham? Because the thing that bothers me with Martellus Bennett is you played on the Patriots, and the thing I would think of right away is, yeah, you were good with the Bears, but it's one of those things with Bennett. One of the main things I think helped him this year was he had that winning culture that kind of kept him in check.
You love talking about that.
Well, the Patriot culture helped him. There's no lie about that. You put him on a team like Jacksonville, it is not going to be like New England, and he's going to go back to being the same Martellus Bennett he was in Chicago.
I mean, it's
when the
definitely
team wasn't winning. Like when his teams weren't winning and he wasn't getting the ball, how did Martellus Bennett act?
He was the worst. That's why I thought it was going to be dangerous in New England.
And that's what it's going to be. In New England,
he lucked out because Gronk got hurt.
Yeah, he lucked out because Gronk got hurt. And two, there's a culture and a system in place to where it's not like, hey, we're going to this guy all the time. It's Tom goes to whoever's open. If Tom's not throwing to you, guess what, Martellus? You're not open.
Yeah, but
get open.
But I think that Blake Bortles would throw the ball to him. I mean, you got a Pro Bowl tight end.
He would be Blake Bortles' safety blanket.
Yeah, you got a Pro Bowl tight end who did great things in Chicago until he got hurt. But, it's just one of those type of situations where I think that Martellus Bennett will get paid. Not as much as he wants to get paid, but he will definitely get paid somewhere.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel like it's one of the one team, like I said, with tight end that's interesting to me is Tampa Bay. But I don't think they'd go out and get a Martellus Bennett. I think that they might go for someone a little lower. And like I said, it's mainly because of that big kind of hole that really Austin Seraphim-Jenkins has been injured. And he hasn't been the tight end that we thought he would be. But some of the other names, I want to go over to the defense now. Looking at the cornerback position. The top 5, and this is off of contracts from last year, the top 5 corners we've got right now. Tremaine Johnson from the LA Rams. We've got the Brandon Carr from Dallas, Sam Shields, Green Bay, Tremont Williams, Cleveland, Prince Amakamura from Jacksonville. Do any of these guys find new teams this year?
Honestly, this might be one of those rare times where I don't necessarily think any of them are going anywhere.
This isn't a year where we see the
I'm sure
the cornerback move.
I'm sure somebody out of this group is going to go somewhere, but these are all players who I see good reasons for them to stick on the teams that they are on. And I don't know, not really too much of a reason to move. I mean, you're not going to want to leave like Green Bay or something like that where, what are you going to get that's better? I think everybody pretty much sticks around. Of course, you could make the case of, hey, there's a lot of places better than LA, but LA is an exciting place to be right now if you're the Rams. If you're the Chargers, not so much. If you're the Rams, yeah.
It's one of those things where right now you look at Todd McShay, you look at Mel Kiper's mocks, there's a lot of teams, especially in Todd McShay's, a lot of teams jumping out there getting cornerbacks in this deep cornerback draft. Do one of those teams that maybe go cornerback in a mock draft go out and say, let's just throw Tremaine Johnson a contract?
I'm sure some teams will.
You know what? You want to play for the Rams? Here you go. We're a better team. We're going to pay you more.
I'm sure that teams are going to be willing to do it. I don't know that they're going to be willing to pay more when you have a draft class where one of the best things about it are the corners.
Kind of like one of those things where it's like, suck on this, Sean McVay. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. We're going to take your We're going to take your 27-year-old corner from you because we're going to pay him more.
Yeah, with as strong as, or with as much of a quarterback league as it is, teams aren't going to want to lose their corners.
Last thing, we'll wrap this up soon. I'll throw it at you this way. Who's one guy, any position, anywhere that we haven't talked about that you think, wow, this is going to be a guy in free agency that we got to look for?
Well, I got a few things I want to say. One that I don't want to get too big on, and then I'll go in a different direction. Terrell Pryor, we didn't talk about him when we talked about wide receivers.
The wide receivers.
Mostly because I think he's a guy who is going to be interesting. He's got a very real potential to be a huge bust because he was a bright spot on that Cleveland team that had nothing to be excited about. I mean, they won a game this year. So definitely some risk there. A couple guys I want to mention, Melvin Ingram and Chandler Jones, the linebacker, the two kind of high-profile linebackers here. Neither one I'd really see moving because I think those are two valuable of weapons. But wouldn't it be great to be able to get Chandler Jones on your team? If you're any team that needs a linebacker, wouldn't that be great? Also, shout out to Chandler Jones because he was born exactly a year before me. Exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, those are guys who I can't really see those teams letting them leave. But, teams are going to be making calls that they can.
I am actually going to look at a position for my last kind of one. I'm looking at the offensive tackles. We've got Adam Whitworth. We've got Kelvin Beachum. We've got Ryan Clady, Luke Jokel, TJ Lang, Matt Khalil. The thing that's going to interest me, and of course some of these guys could re-sign with their teams, how many teams that need offensive tackles
his team
go
Ricky's
more of
team.
My team does. I hope that
the Vikings,
we go after them, especially because we don't have a draft pick. But the one thing that I will find interesting is how many teams go into free agency to try to grab tackles, grab offensive linemen because of the not so deep tackle pool. I mean, we have Ramczyk, we have Cam Robinson, and right now we have Garrett Bowles. Yeah, Garrett Bowles are the only three first-round talents we've got, and depending on whose mock draft you're looking at, they can go as early as 5 to as late as the Seahawks, and it's one of those things where it's like they're all in the middle. So I wonder how many teams that need offensive tackles are going to say, nah, let's move away from the draft. Let's try to get them in free agency so we don't have to dive into this week offensive tackle pool and we can go somewhere else in the first round. But Mark, anything this entire podcast that we missed you think we got to hit before I wrap it up?
No, I mean, I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good about everything. The one thing that needs to be said, of course, the man who signs Matt Barkley will go down in history.
What if it's Kyle Shanahan?
As one of the dumbest fucking moves they could possibly make.
What if it's Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers? Maybe. You never know. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below what you guys think. What free agents are you looking for? Because free agency starts this upcoming Tuesday. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm Ricky Widmer. He's at the Mark Weber with 2 E's. We're Most Valuable Podcasts. I want to thank you guys for watching and listening. If you liked it, check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Thank you guys a third time for watching and listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that segment from the onside kick. If you think the fun stops there, you're wrong, because click the video right over here. What are you thinking? Come on, click it. It's going to go away. Bye, everybody.